You're not afraid of your shadows. You're not afraid of your dark. You are afraid of who you become because of it. See, the darkness requires you to burn away the masks. It requires you to burn away the performance. Okay. Mm. The darkness calls you to give up the good girl image. And you've been wearing that good girl facade for a long time. Playing the overly humble role, turning the other cheek, right? You've been that good girl for so long. But my question, and the question that I have for you is, where has being a good girl really gotten you? Hmm? Where has being all angel gotten you? The reason why many of you have suffered from lack of confidence and inhibiting yourselves from being fully in your beauty and your magnetism is because your shadow says that in order to fully come into your power and your purpose and your magnetism and all that yummy, juicy, delicious goodness, that you got to give up the good girl image. You've got to give up the you that you taught yourself to be in order to survive. Many of you are afraid of the monsters underneath your bed. I'm hearing, oh, is it Rihanna? I'm scared of the monsters under my bed. The monsters underneath the bed are you, by the way. The sexy, fiery, passionate, unfuckwithable you. The sooner you realize that your shadow is not your enemy, but your allies, and all of the monsters that live there is your power and your purpose and your beauty and your confidence and your mission and your pussy's power screaming out for you to answer her call, but you better answer. Let me tell you why. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning power into pleasure is sexy. We are no longer turning pain into power. We are now the alchemists who turn power into pleasure, pleasure into our purpose. Okay? Here's the Odyssey: pain to power, power to pleasure, pleasure to purpose. I am your host and creator of this colony and the many colonies and the many temples we're building around our globe, hell, around our galaxies at this point. I am your queen bee, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty, aka Nova, also known as the Gypsy Empress, also known as Honey Sunshine. If you know, you know. Okay. If you got your copy of the Erotic Siren Call workbook that's available on my Patreon, then you know, Honey Sunshine. All right. Shouts out to my honeys, to my sunshine sirens out there. Shouts out to my Lilith sirens, to my Eve sirens. Shouts out to my charmed sirens. To my grace sirens. All right. Shouts out to my mystic sirens, my Luna sirens. I like to call you Luna. Get your hands on the Erotic Siren Call. It is there for you to fully activate in your power and your purpose and in your pussy. Yes, those of us here as activated alchemists and chosen ones here at Alcheminity, we turn our pain to power, power to pleasure, pleasure to purpose through our pussies. Ooh, how do we do that? You got to work one-on-one with me. Become a member over on Patreon. You will know how to do that. But if you're called here, you've already got some insight. Okay, we do that by healing our root chakra, by healing our pussies. Ooh, healing the womb, healing the mother wounds, healing our witch wound and wombs. Yes, many of you are descendants of witches, and you yourself are a witch. You're clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient. Listen, the whole witch terminology just it came from ignorant people who didn't know how to describe a woman who was a healer. It came from people who didn't know how to describe a woman who was so activated in her sensual and sexual energy that it made men fall in love with her from near and far without her even trying. All she did was show up. Get your copy of Activate, okay? It's available in paperback on an ebook on Amazon. Okay, you got to start at the witch wound before you go any further. Before you listen to any other new content here on my channel, go back to the old stuff. Go to the beginning. Don't just start here at the new stuff. You got to go back into the Rolodex, okay? Let's get into this message. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's your ally. And everything that lives there, it's your power and your purpose. It's your sensual and sexual energy waiting for you to tag it into your life. Because we can't do anything, come into any alignment or any power. We cannot activate any beauty or any magnetism or any of our missions and our purposes as divine feminines without activating your sensual and sexual energy. I had a divine masculine tell me once. This is somebody I was dating. And he passed away some years ago around the time of COVID. And 33rd degree Mason taught me so much about myself as a divine feminine woman. How many of you know that there's a difference between females and divine feminines? There is a difference. So he taught me so much about myself as a divine feminine woman. And one of the things he asked me that I'll never forget, he said, Timmesha, you are way too beautiful and way too intelligent to be struggling in life. Men should be falling at their feet to you. People should be throwing money and opportunities towards you. You are not using your beauty correctly. You're not using what you have to your benefit. And that's so sad. His brother, which not his blood brother, but his also Mason brother, 33rd degree Mason as well, taught me the same thing. They were the first people in my life who happened to be men, who happened to be divine masculine men, who happened to be 33rd degree Masons to tell me that as beautiful women, as a beautiful, intelligent woman, that my life should be like golden. There's no way that beautiful women and intelligent women ought to be struggling in life. He looked at me and said, you got too much going for you to be going through this. You should be living the life of your dreams. You can have any person you want, any man you want, any opportunity you want. And I was like, at the time, I couldn't even take that. I couldn't even understand what that meant. Like, what? How can you say that? You know, because we were taught that talk like that made it sound like you were Jezebel. I felt like they were telling me to be a hoe, a Jezebel or something. Because I didn't understand the language, such wisdom. I didn't understand the wisdom of beauty. I didn't understand how to take the responsibility of what came with being attractive. And so what did I do? What, like many of you did. We hide that type of insight. We hide that. We suppress that. We vilify that. We demonize that in the shadows of ourselves. So like many of you, I suffered from extreme levels of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, being stuck, stagnant, broken, because I didn't know I didn't know how to handle the responsibility of beauty. I didn't know how to handle the responsibility of what it meant to be attractive, of what it meant to be smart, wise, intelligent. And I don't necessarily mean book smart. You can be well read, but intelligence includes wisdom. I didn't know how to handle the responsibility or wear the crown of that. What did that even mean? So when I went on my Dark Night of the Soul Odyssey, okay, I went into the shadows of myself. I had a conversation with my demons. I had a conversation with my monsters. I had a conversation with the devil, with Lucifer. When you have a conversation with Lucifer, you become enlightened. For those of you that know, you know, Lucifer means light. That's where Illuminati comes from. When you really do this work in and on yourself, you actually become you are the true Illuminati. Because you are now enlightened. When you become enlightened and activated about who the fuck you are and why you came to this planet and the powers that you possess, as a divine feminine, the powers that you possess that rises up from your yoni, from your womb, from your pussy. I can't say too much. Become a member over on Patreon because I don't want to get shadow banned here on YouTube any more than I already have. But when you come into this wisdom about yourself and what you ought to do with these powers that you have, now I'm not talking about this toxic rhetoric that a lot of women are spewing out here about pussy power. That ain't it. We ain't talking about that. There are so many people who try to tap into the power of our yonis, of our wombs, doing toxic, manipulative shit with it. We're not talking about using sex as a weapon because as you know, as an activated divine wise one, okay, you know there's a difference between sex and sexuality. You know there's a difference between sex and sensuality. This ain't about putting it on Tyrone and Mike and Marcus and them. This is about arousing and awakening yourself in so many ways. So much so that you become unfuckwithable in your power and in your purpose. So much so that you become magnetic. So much so that you become even more attractive. So much so that you become even more beautiful. So much so that people, places, and things, opportunities are drawn to you. And all you did was show up in your power. And your power stems from your pussy. as a divine feminine. Your power stems from your sensual and sexual energy. I didn't know any of this stuff until I went into the shadows of myself. And I had conversations with all the power and the beings that lived in the shadows of me. This is what your shadow teaches you. It teaches you what your powers are. It guides you. It reminds you of what your powers are. Are y'all hearing me? Be friends with monsters up under your bed. I got some notes in front of me. I don't want to go off on a tangent because y'all know I have a tendency to do that. We're at 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep these like 13 to 15 minutes. For the deeper dives, become a member over on Patreon. Okay. Shouts out to my initiate and my come members, by the way. Cultivating and unleashing our magic and our mysticism. How do we do that? By coming back to ourselves, coming for ourselves, with ourselves, coming to ourselves. So initially I said, and I want to say it again. I didn't say it, but I'm about to say it now. Excuse me. Here's what I want to say. You were taught to fear your shadow. These are notes that I took. You were taught to fear your shadow, to soften your edges, to stay palatable, to keep certain desires quiet. But the darkness never corrupted you. Your darkness and your shadow was never meant to corrupt you. But what it did was strip away the performance, the masks that we've taught ourselves to wear, the masks that society or the world or our family taught us to wear. Okay? It strips away the performance. You can no longer play this overly humble good girl role. That good girl shit, that good girl stuff has got to go. Because you were never meant to be just a good girl. And the only time you should be a good girl is if your man is calling you that. Because he's zaddy, he can do that. For my divine feminines, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are Patreon members, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. The only time we allow ourselves to be called good girl is because our man is saying that. Because we're in some type of dominant, submissive role play. You know what I'm talking about. We love that shit. When they be like, come here, you be like, no, because the divine feminines, we don't just come. I mean, we come, but we don't just come, right? You got to work for it, right? We don't just come. You got to work for us too. You're like, no, I'm not. And they like, come here. But they give you a reason to come there. And then you do it. And they say, good girl. Don't we love that shit? We love it when they be like, good girl. Become a member over on Patreon. I can't say too much. It's so arousing in more ways than one because we know what that means. Okay. Let's keep going. So you strip away the performance in the quiet parts of yourself. The ones you were told to hide, you become clearer. You gain clarity because your intuition is spot on. Okay. Your discernment is spot on. Again, we are activating our spiritual gifts and abilities. So our discernment and our intuition is right. So we become clearer in this darkness. You see better. For those of us activated alchemists and chosen ones, we see better in the dark. We see better in the shadows because we're not just seeing with our physical human eyes. We are seeing with that third eye. Our wombs are guiding us. Our guts are guiding us. Our nervous systems are guiding us. Our yonis pulsate towards the things that we're supposed to be going towards. And I'm not saying if your yoni is pulsating towards some toxic ass person, place, or thing, then baby, this ain't for you. That means you haven't done the work in and on yourself. And your yoni is just pulsating just because, not because it's guiding you. There's a difference. When we work one-on-one together, we break these things down so you get a better understanding, and understanding of when the voice of your yoni is speaking. It's very important that you know the voice of your pussy and learn how to follow it. Oh, I'm hearing my sheep know me, know my voice. They know me. What's the Bible verse? My sheep know my voice, or something like that. You ought to know the voice of your yoni. If you don't know it, then it means there's some work to do. Let's keep going. Your shadow holds your hunger, your depths, your refusal to live smaller to live a smaller life just to be liked. When you do this work in and on yourself and you activate your shadow, like you're activating your beasts, you're activating your demons. And your beasts and your demons are they don't take no shit, basically. They ain't starting no shit, but they ain't taking it either. Right. And so when I wrote, when spirit channeled to me, um, your shadow holds your hunger, your depth, and your refusal to live a smaller life. Like the you that you activate out of your shadows is like, enough with this shit. Mm-mm. Enough with this, enough with them, enough with that place, enough with this storyline. I'm tired of this. Enough with this. Enough with acting like you ain't fine when you are. I'm hearing I'm hearing Jay-Z. I'm ready to da, da, da. You know I want you. You should stop fronting, babe. Acting like this ain't acting like you ain't appealing when you are. Huh. I'm ready to stop when you are. Like, that's your power and your shadows talking to you. Like, when you done wearing these masks, then I'm done too. You should stop fronting. You know I want you, babe. You know I want you, babe. Right? Your power and your shadow self will tell you to quit fronting. Quit acting, quit fronting, quit playing this overly humble role. Quit doing this Pollyanna turning the other cheek bullshit. That never felt good to you. It never served you because it was never your mission and your purpose. When I went on my Dark Night of the Soul Odyssey, what I discovered in my shadow was this this unfuckwithable, sexy, confident, dynamic being. And I suppressed her because I didn't know what do I do with all of that? How do I even navigate the world with that power and that type of power? You don't have to worry about how to navigate the world. It knows the way. Just allow it to embody you, right? Mm. During my Dark Night of the Soul Odyssey, I went on this, I wanted to just be connected to nature all the time. And so I rented this yurt and I went out in the wilderness and I rented this yurt and I went on a meditation and I surrounded myself with candles and I was inside of this circle of candles and I communed. Let's just say I communed. And I met this version of me during this spiritual, I don't even know what you call it, this moment I was having with myself out in the middle of the wilderness. And I met a version of me, and this version of me, she was in a room full of mirrors. She was beautiful, gorgeous, beautiful body. Her hair was like this, actually. She was wearing a yellow dress. And again, we were in a room full of mirrors. And when I met this beautiful, this version of me was bright and shiny, and she was calm and sexy, and she looked at me and I looked at her and she said, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "You got to go." And she said, "Where?" And I said, "Out there." When I think back on that experience that I had, when I told her that she had to go and she had to go out there meant here, into the world, into the light, for the people, for the world, for people to experience her, for people to experience me. This is her. That her that I met, that version of myself that I met, you all are meeting right here at Alcheminity today. If you look back on past videos, you'll see it's like night and day. Can't even say it's like night and day. It's like two different people, because that version of me that I was playing had to die in order for this version to be activated and reborn. You all are on this same journey as activated alchemists and chosen ones. So when you answer the calling of your yoni and you go into the shadows of yourself, it will require you to burn away the performance and the masks you wore all your life. And people aren't going to recognize you. They're not going to recognize you because that you that they remember doesn't exist anymore. They're not going to recognize you because that performance you were playing, that show is done. The curtains have been drawn. You're a whole new being. When she said, "What you want me to do?" and I told her to go out there, I didn't know that that meant to be seen. I didn't know that at the time. But the song that is coming to me right now when I think about this is, "I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. That being that I met of me in the mirror, in the room full of mirrors, was my Venus, was the me that I always desired to become, the me that I have become. And all I had to do was follow that desire. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. Those lyrics are pretty fucking powerful. You think about it. People just think about it from a Gillette commercial, whatever the commercial is. But I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire is profound lyrics. Following your Venus, following your North Node, is following your desire into your powers and into your purpose. Let's keep going. Okay. Because softness without desire isn't femininity. It's a woman who hasn't mastered herself. I'll say that again. I missed the line. Give me a second. So suppressing your darkness, your shadow, it didn't make you safer. It didn't make you safer. It made you fragmented, split between your light and your dark, your angel, your demon, your beauty and your beast. You need your beast in order to have beauty. You need your angel you need your demon in order to be angel. You need your dark in order for there to be light. So suppressing your shadows, it didn't make you safer. It made you fragmented. It split you off from the most powerful part of yourself, which is your shadow self, your Lilith energy. When you activate your Lilith energy from the shadows, she don't come to play. Lilith is all about death and rebirth. Lilith is all about saying what she gonna say when she gonna say it, how she say it. Right? And I'm not saying this means being a bitch or being rude. Again, we are intertwining this with emotional intelligence and mental health here. Okay. But Lilith isn't going to bite her tongue when it's necessary to speak. For those of you who got your copy of the Erotic Siren Call workbook on my Patreon, you know you have to go through the odyssey of all of the sirens. Your first siren is that Lilith energy. You gotta die in order to be reborn and activated into all the other sirens. What comes after Lilith is Eve. Who's that girl? La 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 la. First comes Lilith, then Eve. It's a powerful fucking odyssey. Let's keep going. So when you stop, So suppressing your darkness and your shadows doesn't make you safer. It fragmented you. Because softness without desire isn't femininity. It isn't divine femininity. It's a woman who hasn't mastered herself. A woman who has mastered herself is a divine feminine because you have done the work and continue to do the work in and on yourself on a mental, physical, spiritual, emotional level, on a root chakra level, raising that energy and that wisdom and remembering who you are and what you are, why you came to this planet, remembering what your mission and your purpose is. A woman who has mastered herself is a woman who's magnetic, is beautiful, is confident, she's in her power, she's in her purpose. How do you master yourself? Become a member over on Patreon and work one-on-one with me. That's one step. But how do you master yourself? By tuning into your sensual energy, not suppressing it, not demonizing it, not hiding it in the shadows. How do you master yourself? By mastering yourself. Become a member over on Patreon. If you're ready to work one-on-one with me and mastering yourself, remembering your power and your purpose, activating your siren so that you can come into alignment with your mission and your purpose in this life. Many of your missions and your purposes require you to be in the public eye, which is going to require you to be confident, which is going to require you to be in your magnetic energy, which is going to require you to be attractive, which is going to require you to activate your level of beauty. Ain't no way we should be this fine and this wise and this intelligent struggling. I don't give a fuck what's going on in the world. I don't care about who's the president. Sorry, my phone just stopped recording and it's saying I need to free up space because I got so much on here that I record for y'all over time and I haven't deleted anything. So I guess that's my cue for me to kind of end this here. But what I was saying was, I don't care about what the economy is saying, cost of living. I don't care who's president. I don't give a shit about any of that anymore. As alchemists, we ought to be able to turn these pains into power, power into pleasure, pleasure into purpose by tuning in and remembering the power that we possess in our wombs and our yonis, raising that back up to activate every part of our bodies, of our minds, of our lives Because ain't no way that we should be struggling and confused about who we are, excuse me, what we are, why we decide to come to this planet. Ain't no way we should be this fine and I'm hearing Lizzo. I'm way too fine to be this stressed, yeah. I'm not the girl I was or used to be. But you might be better. Right. I'm way too fine to be this stressed. We way too fine to be distressed, and not just physically. I mean, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. We have done the work, and we are doing the work in and on ourselves. How do we do this? Going into the shadows, re emerging. I'm hearing re-emerging, bringing back up and remembering the power of our sensual energy and what we ought to be doing with it. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it right here. Become a member over on Patreon. Get your copy of the Erotic Siren Call workbook. Okay, you ready to work one-on-one with me? Email me. The information's in the description box. I'll see y'all. Speak to y'all in the next video, in the next episode. Ciao for now.